What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Friday, June 27th, the final Friday in June. My name is Chris Drummond. I'm a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on and talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. Her name is Nicolle Praino. She is an award-winning editor, producer, journalist that went to UGA, was editor-in-chief for that student newspaper, and now is in the same position for the Nashville Post. She's also been in television as well. So we're going to talk to her about her why of getting into journalism and get to know her a little bit outside of her occupation. So without any further ado, I introduce you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Nicolle.
Hello.
Good morning. How we doing, Nicolle?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. It's been a long time coming. Having
I
you hop on this
know.
podcast for sure, no question. I
Yeah.
love it though. I love the fact that you're here. It's wonderful to see you. You look amazing, by the way. I just want
Thank
to say that.
you.
Very
Glad to be
welcome. Very welcome. Thank you. I want to say again, thank you for coming on to my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. And I want to ask you, how has your week been going so far?
Yeah, it's good. It's been a definitely work hard kind of week.
Mhm.
uh,
Sure. Sure.
I am currently doing two jobs, so that
Oh,
is a lot of extra work right now, but it's
yeah.
okay. It's all good.
Well, I know about one of them, which was, again, congratulations, because that's the new one, and that's the editor-in-chief at the Nashville Post. What's the other one that you're doing?
So I'm still doing the managing editor job of the Williamson scene until we hire somebody.
Mm,
So
got you,
yeah,
got you.
it's all
Okay,
within the same company, so it's
awesome.
still
That's
working
what's
that
up.
out. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, before I start peppering you with all these questions and things that I got lined up, I want to reiterate to you why I wanted to have you on here. I know, again, we've been talking for a while, but I've been knowing you for a minute. You've been doing journalism, not only student journalism at UGA, but also at WTalk, also now at Nashville Post. So you've been a journalist for a while. I've been a journalist for a while as well. I started at the Marietta Daily Journal, if you know about that, and
Mhm.
also the Cherokee Tribune Ledger, where I was covering different sports as well, and then transitioned out here to Minnesota. I love talking to likewise people who love journalism and who's passionate about storytelling, just like me. But it's rare, Nicolle, that we get a
Yeah.
chance to talk about ourselves because we're always talking about other stories or interviewing other people, getting sources and doing things of that nature. And everybody's story is unique and different of how they end up in this industry. And your story is just as special as anyone else's. So it really is a pleasure to have you on. And that's why I wanted to bring you on. And with that being said, the first question that I have is the same question I have for every guest that I have on here. And that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any inspirations or role models growing up? But ultimately, why did you want to pick a career in journalism?
Why did I want to pick a career in journalism? I feel like I fell into it at a really young age. So I
Okay.
definitely think like I didn't know like my why early on, but it was
Mhm.
just like the natural path and the natural progression. I did have a great mentor in high school who was my English teacher.
Mhm.
And she had a journalism elective course and was like, I think you'd really like this. Come and take this class. And I
Mhm.
did, and I loved it. And then she also taught a course for newspaper specifically.
Mhm.
So my high school had a high school newspaper, and that was where I really got my start, which is very young. I
Yeah.
think most people
Yeah.
don't start journalism until at least college.
Sure. Sure.
So I kind of fell into it on accident. I've always been like a person who loves to read and write at a young age. So
Mhm.
I think my English teacher just saw that and provided that opportunity and that pathway for me. Um,
Mm.
and then it was just that from then on. When I got into college, I had always wanted to go to UGA. I'm a Georgia girl. I grew up outside of Atlanta. So, like, UGA
Okay.
was ever only the real answer. There was no other
Mhm.
option. And
Mhm.
especially after I decided on journalism because it's easily the best journalism school in the South.
Right.
Maybe some Mizzou people over there might fight me about it. Some people they might say they're the best journalism school in kind of the South, but I think Georgia is more
Right,
South
right.
than Missouri. So,
Agreed. Totally agree. Go ahead.
but they're the ones I think we hear the most about between the journalism schools. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I think once I got there, it was on lock. That was what I was doing, and I graduated in 3.5 years.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
out of
Okay.
there quick. But I
Okay.
got as much as experience as I could while I was there because I
Mhm.
worked at the Red and Black,
Yep.
and I interned at CNN. And
Mhm.
then out of college, I went into TV and went to WTOC.
Right,
Um,
in Savannah, Georgia. Yep,
mhm,
absolutely.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and I've kind of gotten a little bit away from the why, but I promise I'll circle back around to it.
You're good. No
And
worries. Go ahead.
And it was when I was in TV that I realized I hated working in TV. I was doing production, at first, running cameras and audio and those sort of things, and they were valuable experiences to have.
Mhm.
And then I went to being a producer and writing shows, and I was just not enjoying it. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I Writing the shows was fine, but, like, I wanted to research, I wanted to report, but I didn't wanna be
Sure.
on camera. I didn't wanna be an MMJ. I didn't really care too
Mm.
much about video specifically, um,
Okay.
and so I wanted to go back to print. I took a detour and I stayed in TV for a little while longer, and I went to CNN, back to the same department that I interned for, which is called
Right,
The Row, and The Row
right.
is like the editorial clearinghouse at CNN. I was a researcher, so I fact checked like scripts and I fact checked long investigative pieces and those sort of things. And that really filled my cup, especially during COVID. That was when I
Yeah.
started there, and I was there for from 2020 through 2022. So like
Okay.
that was like a crucial period, you know. Um,
Sure. Sure.
and I really enjoyed doing that because that was kind of getting me back to digging through the documents and, learning and sharing factual, truthful, real information with the community at large, of the
Right.
world. Um, but I really think my ultimate why is to serve a community. And
Mhm.
that can be the community at large of the world. And I think the people who are in national outlets do a great job of that. But I love to serve like the community I'm living within. I think like now I can definitively say like that's my why,
Okay.
to make my corner of the world a better place, if you will,
Sure.
um, for, my family, my friends, that sort of thing. Just feeling that community impact is great. Um, so after CNN, I went to print newspaper again, and I worked in a small town in North Alabama,
Okay.
Athens, Alabama specifically, and
Mm.
worked at
Mm.
that newspaper there for a little while. And then I got married, and my husband is from Middle Tennessee. So we decided to move up here to the Nashville area. So
Absolutely.
that's how I ended up here and doing what I'm doing now.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. And that's a great why. No question. Obviously me being in the sports genre, I love sports. Kobe Bryant was one of my idols growing up. I grew up in San Diego. My mother moved to Georgia. So that's how obviously I learned of you. And then you being a Georgia person, I went to Kennesaw State University. That's where I got my undergrad at, but I'm very familiar with Athens, Georgia. No question about that. A lot of football games I went to, and there's a particular street that has a lot of bars on it that I went to as well. There's a strip that's pretty good too, for sure, no question. So very familiar. And Mama's Boy is one of my favorite restaurants in Athens, which I'm sure you know about that as well.
One of my favorite restaurants, hands down to this day. I've
Okay.
lived in Atlanta, I've lived in Savannah, I've lived in Nashville, great cities with great food. Mama's Boy has one of the best breakfasts of all the places I've ever
No
lived.
question. No
Yeah.
question about it. No argument for me. I'm a huge Nashville person. Definitely love coming there every time I do come there. Tootsie's is one of my favorite bars. You know about Tootsie's, so I know you know about that. But Fifth and Broadway is just magical anyway. Obviously, it's a lot going on down there for sure.
Yeah. Change
Um,
it every day.
Absolutely. I want to ask you though, because you said UGA was your number one choice. You got into there. Talk to me about. I always ask UGA students this: did you ever get a chance to go to the neutral site game of UGA Florida? And if you
Oh, yeah.
did, do you have any memories from that?
I have so many memories from that because I went a lot of times because my father is a huge UGA football fan. I think that's
Hmm.
part of the reason why there was no other option other than UGA ever.
Hmm.
So
True, true.
he's gone to all the games ever since I could remember. And so going to the UGA Florida game was something we did pretty much almost every year. And so I loved, going with my family and some close family friends. We would go down and we would do the big tailgate and,
Hmm.
all of that sort of thing. So it was so much fun. And to be on the neutral site is like something different because you could be tailgating like right next to Florida fans,
Yep.
and that can be so funny because in Athens, it's all dog fans. And if somebody walks down the street in another jersey, everyone's like, boo, but
Right, right.
but on the neutral site, like, everyone tailgating together has good fun, So
It's
that's
definitely a
really
good
special.
vibe, no
Yeah.
question. And I've been down there. I went down there a couple times. So Jacksonville definitely. I don't know about touring the whole city of Jacksonville like that because I haven't went around to the whole city of Jacksonville, but definitely just the tailgating experience and watching that neutral site game, that was pretty fun to do. I
Mhm.
always have to ask UGA people like that. Is there a memory that you have in your mind that was like so fun that you just unforgettable?
They all just kinda run together because we went to several, like, in a few years in a row. I don't think there's anything specific that stands out about it, just other than, like, the uniqueness of the kind of experience that it is
Yeah,
tailgating
absolutely.
next to, like, Florida fans.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, you never know who you tailgating next to. You say you went to you say you grew up in Georgia. Where did you go
Yeah.
to high school at?
Mountain View High School.
Mountain View. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, definitely. That
Gwinnett
was actually.
County.
Yep. I
Yep.
definitely know about that. My mother still lives in Gwinnett County to this day. She lives in Lawrenceville.
That's where
Which
I'm from.
oh, that's where you from. Okay,
That's
yeah.
where
So
I'm from. Yep.
she lives like literally probably 2 minutes from the Gwinnett Striper Stadium. Where
That is
that's.
very close to where I grew up.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, she is still there. I'm actually gonna go visit her in a couple of months, because I haven't seen her in a while. So I would definitely want to visit her. But that's what's up, Mountain View. I'm very
Small
familiar with
world.
that. Yeah, small world, right? I want to ask you some favorite questions, and you just
Yeah.
give me the some of your favorite things based upon these questions off the rip. Okay, so here we go. Nicole, what is your favorite meal to cook?
Oh, to cook? I cook every day. We cook at home a lot.
Mm,
So
mm,
I love to cook.
mm,
Probably my favorite thing to cook,
mhm.
would be oh gosh, I'm trying to think. I
Oh,
love to cook pasta, like any kind of
okay.
pasta, like
Yeah.
and I like to home make the sauces. I've made, like, homemade marinara and stuff like that, but
Okay.
I won't home make Alfredo. My husband home makes the best Alfredo.
Okay, well,
So,
shout out to Nicole's husband. I like that. That's what's up. That's
if
what's
I
up.
want Alfredo, he's gonna make it. So
Okay. I might have to pull up to y'all house next time I'm in Nashville now. I'm saying, that's what's up. I like that.
yeah.
I'm a huge pasta person and Mexican food person, so I love that. I love those two for sure.
Fun fact, I learned how to make Chinese food in the UGA dining hall because I worked as a dining hall person and we rotated around all different, like, stations, and there's
Oh,
a Chinese food station, and so I learned how to
mhm.
make Chinese food there.
Wow. So you was one of like the workers picking up like the dishes and the cups and taking it to the back. You was the one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. That's what's up. Um, Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Oh, my favorite concert that I've ever attended, my favorite one would probably be oh, I just have such good memories of one of, like, my earliest concerts. I went to,
Mm.
like, a Fall Out Boy concert when I was really young,
Wow.
and it was
Yeah.
just so much fun. It was just such a
Mhm.
blast. So that is probably, like, just because I was young, and it was such a
Right.
just, like, ingrained memory of, I think it was, like, Fall Out Boy and All Time Low, and so just, like,
Mm, okay.
that such nostalgia comes back to mind when I think about that.
Sure,
Um,
sure, absolutely.
and I'm trying to
Fall Out
think of
Boy Fall Out Boy
recent.
is pretty cool. I like Fall Out
Yeah,
Boy. They're definitely good. Um, I would say one of my favorite concerts was Breaking Benjamin for sure. I like Breaking Benjamin, but I'm all over the place with music. I like The Weeknd too. That was a great
yeah.
concert. No question about that. So definitely those two come to mind. Um, Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Iceland.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that one because
That is
that's
honestly, I
rare.
thought that that was gonna be a harder question to answer, but that was the b I because I've been to Rome and I've been to Iceland, like, within a couple years of each other, and
Okay.
those are the only 2 times I've really well, not the only 2 times I traveled outside the country. I've been outside the country a couple other times, but those are my
Okay.
top 2. And
Yeah.
my first thought was Rome, but I was like, "No, Iceland," because the natural landscape there, it's just so beautiful. Like, you
Mm,
can't we flew into Reykjavik, and then we drove the entire country. There's, like,
mhm.
a way that you can go around the whole entire thing in, like, a week, and we stayed in, like, a different city every night, and so we got to, drive through up north when it was really cold, and we hiked a glacier and all this stuff, and then down south, the weather was actually really nice, and it was sunny,
Mhm.
and, we just went on, like, nice hikes through kind of, like, forest areas to see, like, waterfalls and stuff like that. So it was just amazing landscape, like, across the board, and it was such a good time.
Sure, absolutely. I can imagine that. I definitely got to put Rome on the list. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Mine was Jamaica. No question. Going to Jamaica, being able to walk around, beautiful scenery. It was beautiful weather. It was scorching. It was hot, but the food
yeah,
was good. The jerk
I bet.
chicken was good. The rice was good. Everything was great. I went on a cruise last year, so that's how we went to
Yeah.
Jamaica for sure. Okay, I like
Yeah,
that.
the food in Italy was better than the food in Iceland, though. So I would say, like,
I'm sure. I'm sure.
that would be the one thing that, like, would put Rome over Iceland. But you can't get any better than the natural beauty of somewhere like
Okay.
that. So,
I love it. I love it. Well, Nicole, I'm a sports person, so this is a two-part question of favorites. Okay, so favorite sport that you like to watch on TV, favorite sport you like to attend in person.
football, both.
Okay,
I
now
mean
NFL or college or both.
I think I like both. I like both. My thing with the NFL is just that I've lived in now 2 major cities that have crappy pro football teams. I got the Falcons and I have the
Mhm.
Titans.
Right,
So, the
right.
Titans are trying their best to come back. They're trying. I wanna get on board with them. I wanna get on that
Mhm.
train.
Mm-mm.
Uh, but I'm still interested enough that, like, I love seeing, like, the trades they're doing and who they're gonna pick in the draft, and, part of the rebuilding is a little exciting, there's a new
Mhm.
coach that has just been around for a year, so what's he gonna
Yep,
do with the team? And so
yep.
some of that is a little exciting to get in on, but definitely, like, I'll always be a Falcons fan because I grew up around Atlanta, and
Sure,
that can be
sure,
disappointing. My best
sure.
friend works for the Falcons, so she's gonna hear me say this and be like, "Nicole, don't talk bad about us." Um, but yeah, they're on their way though. They're trying.
They are. They are. They got a lot of decisions to make. What to do with Kirk Cousins, obviously with Penix Jr. starting now. But they do have a solid offense. I do like their offensive line. I like Bijan Robinson. I like Drake London. I like him as a wideout and a receiver. They got some good pieces on defense. I think Morris is going to turn that around. Plus, they're in a division that's not really a dominant division. So the Falcons definitely have more of a chance to win that than the
Mhm,
Titans do in the AFC South. Unfortunately, the
mhm.
Titans are just in rebuilding mode with their team. But Cam Ward does bring promise. He is a
Yeah,
very good quarterback. So I have to see that. And plus, Nissan Stadium is one of my favorite places. I know I told you I was going to visit my mom. I'm
yeah.
actually going to the weekend concert when I go out there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to go see my mom in Georgia, but the weekend is actually coming to Nissan Stadium during my time visiting my mom. So I'm definitely gonna go to that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, should be pretty dope. Last of the favorites. I'm a huge foodie. Obviously, I've been to Nashville. Nashville has I've been to many restaurants. They have a sandwich place that's like a gooey type of sandwich place where you can get like the best grilled cheese. I forgot what that sandwich place was, but I tried it. It was the best grilled cheese ever. They also have Jack in the Box, which is my guilty pleasure. If I have to eat really bad, Jack in the Box is my place. I love Jack in the Box. But what is your favorite restaurant there in Nashville? Or if you want to take it back home, you could tell me a favorite restaurant you have in Atlanta.
My favorite restaurant in Nashville right now, it changes all the time,
Mhm.
is St. Vito's. It's a
Mm,
Italian pizza place, and
yeah.
the way that they do pizza is not normal pizza. They make pizza on focaccia bread. So it's like
Wow.
that thick, but it's just you would think that would be too much bread. That doesn't sound good. It is incredible. It is I
Okay.
mean, yeah, it's there's nothing like it. Like if you want traditional pizza, it's not the place, but like if you're willing to go out on a limb and try something because it's good food,
Yeah.
it's the best.
Okay.
I love
Listen,
that place right now.
there's no question I will be back in Nashville and I would try that for sure.
Mhm,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I like that. Obviously when I do come out there, if you're still out there, I have to say hello to you for sure.
Absolutely.
That would be amazing. A bonus question here. Have you written the drinking bus yet?
No.
Oh, do you know what I'm talking about?
The ones where you just, like, get on and ride around and party.
Mm-hmm.
So, in Nashville, the people who live in Nashville will everybody I've ever met makes fun of those things, and they're like, "They're only for the tourists," and I'm like, "But they do look kind of fun." And I have one friend who, when she turned 30, she
Mm-hmm.
actually rented a party bus, and, like, her and all her friends, like, did the tourist
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Yep.
for her birthday, and they had a blast, and it was so much fun. But I couldn't go because I wasn't in town that weekend, and I was like, "Darn it." I was like,
Right.
"That would
You
have been my
should.
chance."
Yes. You take either your girlfriends, you and your girlfriends go. You could take your hubby as well. You definitely should do it just to check it off the bucket list for sure. A
Yeah,
lot of people always ask me when I go to Nashville, did you visit the Grand Ole Opry? Did you go to the
yeah.
Ryman Auditorium? Yeah, I did. I took tours of that. And then they also have a Hall of Fame uh there as well. I keep forgetting what it's called though. I forgot which Hall of Fame it
Oh, the
is, but
Country Music Hall of Fame.
Country Music Hall of Fame, yes, and I went there as well. So, yep, I
You
love
said
doing
the
tours.
Opry, and it
I
reminded
do.
me of another concert more
Okay.
recently in life that I've been
Okay.
to that was really good. Vince
Yeah.
Gill and Amy Grant, and it was awesome. It was their
Okay.
Christmas show, and they're
Okay.
so fun.
All right.
They're
Now,
they're a fun duo.
that's what's up. I like that. I like that you mentioned that. I want to get into Nicole your day-to-day operations. Being editor in chief, you kind of run the whole show, right? You run the whole show at the Nashville Post. You oversee everything as your managerial skills, but you also do things as well. Um, Obviously, you also know that when you're in journalism, it's never 2 days are the same. Every day that you're in journalism, you're writing about something different, you're talking about something different, you're interviewing something different. I know that too. Talk to me about your day-to-day operation and your process. Like, how many times do you guys publish? Obviously with newspapers, they cut down the days of where you actually publish a newspaper. I know I worked in multiple publications and it went from every day to 6 days to 5 days. Talk to me about how much, as far as news, do you actually get a chance to cover? Do you put a lot of stuff online or do you do a lot of stuff in print?
Yeah, so the Post is pretty much a solely digital publication.
Okay.
So everything we do is online. We used to print more magazines. We did, I
Okay.
think, up to 4 a year at one point,
Yeah.
and now we just do one magazine a year, and we do special digital series for those other things that used to be magazines throughout the year. That's a
Okay.
new change. Like we just did 3 magazines last year, and then now this year we just did the one, and we're down to doing digital series. Save on
Wow.
printing costs.
Yeah.
Um, and we have a really strong digital presence, so our advertisers see the benefit of the digital series just as much as the print products. Um,
Absolutely.
so I think we're kind of seeing how it goes this year before we decide. Now, if it were me personally, I think there's always some extra value in something that you can print and hold in your hand. So if I had the
True.
choice and could push us back to maybe doing 2 magazines a year or something like that, just to bring a little bit of the print back in, I would. But we'll see. We're just kind of testing out different stuff to see what works right now.
Sure.
Um,
Absolutely.
and then daily, we send out 2 newsletters to our subscribers every day at 8 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Okay.
So, and they usually have up to like, well, I won't say up to, because I mean, it could have probably up to like 8 new pieces of content in each newsletter, but probably no less than 4 new things in each one. So, a bare
Okay.
minimum of that 4 for new content. So, we're constantly churning on stuff. Um, it's
Mm,
me, a managing editor, an associate editor, and 2 reporters, one sports reporter, one politics, and the all the editors are working editors, myself included. Like we say we're working editors to kind of make it make sense that like we're also reporters, like we
right.
have I wouldn't say like each of us have specific beats because we can all kind of do everything if we need to.
Right.
Um, but being a business publication like the Post is, we kind of focus in on certain industry sectors. Like my managing editor, William, focuses on development and real estate. He's been doing it his whole entire lifetime and will, probably retire doing it. And so he
Sure.
knows
Sure.
everybody and everything in Nashville when it comes to real estate and development. He's my go to. The associate editor is Hannah, and she does healthcare mostly, but she also does food and social justice and all kind of other things.
I love that. That's cool.
And then politics and sports are our other 2 team members. So yeah, they're great. They're a great team. That makes it easy in terms of the transition and still kind of doing some stuff from my old job in the interim. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, and I pick up kind of anywhere where there might be slack. I can do politics stuff. I can do any of the real estate stuff. I can do finance and technology or what other industry sectors are there? Legal, anything
Yep.
entrepreneurship. We pick
Yep.
up kind of all the different pieces of that and are trying to expand some of our coverage in certain areas and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of kind of transition now that I've been, recently named editor, that we're still trying to like, just kind of get our baseline and see where we're at and then make some changes in future months to come to kind of expand what we're doing a little.
I love that. That's one of the things that I've kind of noticed and realized. I was in a publication coming from Atlanta, Georgia, working with the Marietta Daily Journal and the Cherokee Tribune Ledger, working in different sports. I got my first full-time opportunity out here in Minnesota where I was covering sports for about 2.5 years. And then I went freelance because I kind of started to see, me personally, that the newsrooms was just getting kind of chopped down as far as people doing it. It just wasn't a lot of us in there, and it was so much work. And then it was like, man, obviously, you got to be able to grind. You got to be able to, pay is not going to be up and up, but at the same time, you definitely don't want to be like buying top ramen every single night. Like there's sometimes like you're out of the college experience and you're in professional, so you want to get paid what you feel like you're worth.
Mhm.
When I chose to go freelance, um, it definitely suited me better. Tell me about what you think about the staffs that are in some of these publications. As far as, do you think that this is something of a trend that's going to continue where staffs are going to continue to cut down or stay the same? Is newspaper ever going to go out of style? What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't think that newspaper's ever gonna go out of style. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that if anything, like, we're gonna continue to see costs get cut back because advertisers aren't advertising like they used to,
Right.
and things like that.
Right.
So, that means a lot of times print is the highest cost. So cutting back on print is not that surprising.
Hmm.
Um, But I don't think we're ever going to see all newspapers like across the country completely disappear. I think they're so ingrained in like the fabric of America and the world. I mean, even I don't think worldwide you're going to see a lack of print, you know.
I
Now,
love it.
I still think we're going to continue to see a diminishing of it
Hmm.
because that is like the way that the world is going is more digital. And
Right.
so I think that journalists and journalism organizations need to continue to figure out the best ways to reach people because we need to do our best to reach people where we're at, you know.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I think people inherently trust something that's in print. And so I think that like you give yourself credibility as a digital organization when you have that print element. Um, you know, I think people have a little more, and especially now that there's AI, right?
Yes.
Like, um,
Absolutely.
people are going to become more and more wary of what they see online as that continues to grow.
Evolve. Right.
So, you know, I think again, that print product can help lend your organization credibility because people trust what they can hold in their hand. Um, and so, like, ethically for journalists, I think it's an important thing almost to double down on to, you know, prove to your community, like, you know, we are who we say we are. We do,
Yep.
you know, these things a certain way, and our
Yep.
reporting follows a certain standard, and that sort of thing. I think is really important. So,
Absolutely. I mean, without that, our credibility is shot as reporters. No, no question about it. So I 100% agree on that. It's a great segue though, because I want to talk about mental health and work-life balance. You
mhm,
know, there's been a lot of people that I know as journalists that have stepped away from this industry because their mental health was affected. Maybe their work-life balance, they couldn't find a balance, so they had to get into a different profession, different job. Um, Talk to me about how you have kept your mental health strong, but also still have that work-life balance, right? You are a wife, daughter, maybe even a sibling as well. But you have friends too, and journalism can be long hours as well, you know. So, and you and I both know that working in this industry. Talk to me about how you do keep your mental health strong though, and not experience things like burnout.
mhm. I won't say I've never experienced burnout. I think all of us have experienced burnout. Uh,
Sure.
so, in one capacity or another, some people do experience it to the extent where they have to fully step away, you
Right.
know, and kind of rest and recalibrate before they come back. But I think for me, it's definitely happened more like on the job and having to find out like ways to rest like while sticking with it, you know, just because I haven't had felt like I had the option to go anywhere else because I've felt such a dedication to it, you know.
Mhm.
For me,
Mhm.
my why is really important, and I feel that like service, what's the right word? I'm a writer, I should know. Like service-oriented heart that I have for the job
Right.
has really
Right.
kept me passionate and in it through that like period of burnout. You know, that I think that why has been really important for me to like cling to when
Sure.
I'm tired, you know, and burnout is not just tiredness, but in short summary. Um, yeah. And I guess like that's the thing too that I love to say that balance isn't possible and that like we all go through like peaks and valleys through our careers.
Sure.
Journalists and non-journalists alike experience this. I'm sure like, you know, folks who have demanding jobs like nurses and teachers, you know, experience the same thing.
Right.
And sometimes you're riding that high of that passion and, you know, it's you're serving well and you're getting great feedback and you're feeling great. And then sometimes you've overworked yourself and you're down there in the valley and you don't know how to get through it. And,
Right.
you know, I think it's definitely important to surround yourself with a good community of people, to be in the right job that supports you through that. Um, you know, I think definitely if you're in a working environment that's not supporting you through your burnout, leave and go find another job. Definitely, like, and that's easier said than done. And it's not
Right.
necessarily
Right.
always something that can be done immediately, but you
Mm-hmm.
need to be thinking and planning about how you're gonna get out if it's not supporting you. Um,
Mm.
and the right place will show up and come along. And it's okay to leave a job every 2 years and go to a new place. I have. Every 2 years, I've switched jobs. WTOC for 2 years, CNN
Yep.
for 2 years. I was in
Yep.
Alabama for, like, just over a year, and now I've finally settled in Nashville and been in Nashville for just about 2 years. I bought my house 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
Right. Right. I was gonna
Actually,
say that.
so but now I'm actually staying, and while I've been in this current, uh not publication, but the company, the publication house really,
Mm-hmm.
um, eh, I've been here for 2 years. I've had upward movement and mobility within my company, and that's a great support system to have so that I can see that they're invested in my development and my growth, so I don't have to feel like I have to leave to go find the next best thing, you know?
Right.
Um, so I think that's important for people to feel like you don't have to be tied down, especially when I was in local TV and it was like contracted, it was
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
scary. Do I want to leave my contract? Do I want to resign? And it was like, for me, part of it was getting out of that TV world. And I was like, I just don't want to deal with this,
Right.
And so
Right.
even going to CNN was a great move in that way because it got me out of that contract, no contract. Like it was just a normal full-time job kind of thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
that was a huge benefit in my book. So yeah, finding a place that supports you, building your community of friends, family, whatever, people who are going to support you that you can go to and, complain about whatever and be totally open and, just lay it all out on the table with those people so that they can know how to best support you too. And I do think that that is a little bit of personal work, when you talk about your mental health, like I think everybody should go to therapy at some point in their life. Like, I don't think therapy needs to be like a big scary thing. I think we should treat it just like any other doctor's visit that might need to happen, like it's taking care of your mental health. It's talking with somebody who is trained to understand our minds and our psychology. And when you can explain to them what you're going through at work, at home, with friends, whatever it is that, you feel like you're wrestling with your spirituality, like a therapist can help you through anything. So,
No doubt.
you have to put in the work, caveat. But, I think that if you're finding that you're struggling even within like the community that you've built, even like if friends and family are giving you great advice, but for some reason you just can't break through whatever you're dealing with, like
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid, go to a therapist.
I love it. No, I love it. I appreciate that answer. I do. I mean, many people deal with mental health and work-life balance in many ways. And obviously with you being a journalist and you being a EIC there, there's going to be long days. It's great that you have a supportive partner that supports you in your endeavors as far as work goes. I know for me, it was very tough at first trying to find friends that want to hang out at midnight on a Tuesday because that's when you're getting off. It's sports are nights and weekends, and
Yeah.
you're getting off at that time. And a lot of business friends that I've had that worked 8 to 5, 9 to 6, a couple of them I lost because they will invite me out all the time and you're canceling on them all the time because you got things to do. You got sports to cover, you got stories to write. And their schedule just don't coincide with yours. So that was difficult at first, but then you realize that you're chasing a dream and you're doing something that you passionately love, and you understand that your day ones and your real friends and probably likewise people is what you're probably going to have to start befriending understand your schedule, and they understand that they're willing to make the sacrifices and time that you're making for yourself. um Before I get into this next question, I want to ask you about advice. What advice would you give someone now that you've been in the journalism game for a little bit? What advice would you give someone that just graduated college that wants to go into being either broadcast or a print journalist?
Try both, if you're not sure which one. Say yes to anything at first after you've graduated, unless it like truly doesn't feel right for you. Like, I guess, don't do something just for the sake of doing it. But if
Mhm.
you're not sure, just try it, you know? At first I was really like, oh, I want to go work in print. And yeah, I ended up back in print, so it makes sense, but I was willing to try TV stuff, and it gave me great skills that have been transferable, and I
Right.
learned a lot of other things that if I had just stuck with print, I wouldn't have necessarily learned. Um, so try new things and say yes to opportunities that come your way, early on in your career, because that's the time to jump around, you know? Um, I think that's why, like, I jumped around and did as much as I could, through my early career years. Because now I'm pretty settled, When we moved to
Right.
Nashville, we bought a house, like, this is where I'm gonna be. Now I've got the EIC job, like, I don't see myself leaving here, anytime, you know, anytime soon. So, I'm settled and this will be my job for a while, God willing. But,
Yeah,
um
absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely.
so I think it's good I've had all these other experiences because that shapes how I'm doing my job now, you
Hmm.
know, and, gave me all sorts of uh, transferable skills from writing TV scripts, taught me how to shorten things, which is important for being able to, shorten stories down to put it out for social media or whatever, you know. And so I think, that's just one quick example, but, proof that even my TV skills I still use today in a way, even though I don't
Okay.
do that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. No, great answer. That is. Definitely try everything. You never know what you like unless you try it. That's for sure.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I love that. We've reached the portion now of the podcast, Nicole. Now we're going to talk about my interactive game, which is called This or That. I play that with all the guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast, which is basically I throw some things at you and you get to choose this or that. So,
Okay.
Nicole, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Out of these two restaurants, which restaurant would you prefer to eat at? KFC or Popeyes?
Popeyes.
Girl, you on point like a period right now. I like that. Here we go. Here we go. We starting off good. Here we go. If you are eating chicken wings, which flavor would you rather put on the wing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Lemon pepper.
Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Wet.
Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Bone in.
So you like to get messy with it.
Yes. Bone in
Hmm.
wings, lemon pepper, and hot.
Okay. That's
If
my
if
type of
if you can do but if you could do both, then always both.
that's my type of friend, girl. Put a
Yeah,
football game on and we can go to work. I like
that's
that. Get a
right.
wet wipe and go to work. I'm with you on that. Okay. That's what's up. These next five questions have to do with music concerts that you rather attend. So here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Kendrick.
Okay. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see SZA or Alicia Keys?
Oh my god. Alicia Keys.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. Okay
She's just
now.
just classic. You can't like I couldn't pass that up.
Okay. I'm with you on that. Both of them great artists. But yeah,
Yeah.
Alicia Keys. I love it. Okay. Which music concert would you rather go to? Beyonce or Rihanna?
Oh my I have to pick.
Mhm. Yep, they're gonna get a little harder. They're gonna get a little harder, Nicole.
Okay, Beyonce. It's just such a, like, theatrical
Mhm.
experience. I couldn't pass that up.
I understand. That's probably the first one we disagreed on all conversation long, because I probably would pick
But
Rihanna.
I love Rihanna. That is
This
such a hard
it is
this or
hard.
that.
It is hard, that's for sure. Okay. The next one. Which concert do you plan on going to? Chris Brown or Usher?
Usher.
Okay. Last of the concerts. Which concert do you plan on going to? Carrie Underwood or Taylor Swift?
Taylor.
You took a
Taylor.
breath on that one. Was that okay?
Yeah. I you know, I feel like I just grew up with both of them. That one for me, like, I feel like I started liking, Beyonce and Rihanna after I even started liking Carrie and Taylor, like, as just in my musical involvement,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
so I feel like I've listened to them for so long, I'm like, "How could I even pick?" But Taylor,
I
I
told you
mean,
that was gonna get tougher now. I did.
again, it's the same thing, it's the theatrical experience that she would provide,
I
like,
love that.
and I don't think Carrie even comes close to that. She's a great artist, but
Mhm.
in terms of the experience of the concert, Taylor hands down.
Okay. Now, which sport would you rather watch on TV? Basketball or baseball?
Baseball.
Okay. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Bowling. I have no hand-eye coordination, so I think badminton would be a no.
Are you a good bowler?
I mean, I don't think I'm bad,
Okay.
but I wouldn't say I'm good, you
Okay.
know?
Are you better with or without cold alcoholic beverages?
Good question. I don't know. I don't think I've played enough. I'm probably worse with it. So,
Okay.
you
Do you
know.
need the bumpers? Do you need the bumpers?
No, I don't need them. I prefer them. It makes me a better
Oh boy.
bowler to have them, but last time we went bowling, I didn't use them, and I did okay. I didn't
You did okay.
lose,
Okay.
so
Well, I have to from your mouth to my ears, I have to believe what the
I
hell you're
didn't
saying.
lose, but I didn't win either, so,
But that's
you know.
okay. That's all right. Long as you don't, long as you ain't playing Wii bowling out in public, we good. We are so good. That's what's up. I love that. Okay. Do you like desserts?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna name four categories of desserts, Nicole. You have to choose one of these categories that you'll never eat again. So here we go. The first category is candy. The next category is cookies. The third category is cake slash pies. So they're grouped together. The last category is ice cream. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Candy.
Girl, you on point like a period. I'm
I
trying to
could
tell you
I
right
could
now.
I like to bake and stuff, so, like, I could do without candy. If I can
Okay.
have all that other stuff, I can do without candy, and I am a
So,
sweet tooth, like, I love
mm,
anything sweet,
so
but
again, Nicole, my name is Chris. And if you ever plan on baking like chocolate chip cookies, or brownies, or just anything at all, something remotely close to that, please don't hesitate to hit me up. I understand. Listen, Tennessee is always going to have my heart. That's for sure. I'm just throwing it out there. Anytime I'm in
okay.
Nashville, yeah, anytime. You want to Tupperware me some, that's fine.
Alright,
No question
I'll
about it.
remember that.
Okay. Please, please do. Don't forget it now. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Hopefully it'll stick on the wall. So that's for sure. Okay. That's what's up. I like it. What's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, it depends on what I'm in the mood for,
Hmm, okay.
because if I really want chocolate, then, like, a chocolate fudge mousse tracks kind of ice cream is, like, because it's, like, chocolate, 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 you know?
Okay. Okay.
But, like, all-time favorite probably, if I just, like, am gonna go get ice cream at, like, an ice cream shop or something, chocolate
Mhm.
chip cookie dough, never loses, you know?
That is my second favorite. That is my second favorite ice cream for sure. No doubt. First would be cookies and cream. But
Cookies
yes.
and cream is a good choice too.
Yeah, very classic. Very classic. Do you like potato chips?
Yeah, I don't not like them.
Okay, so this is the same format as a
Okay,
dessert. So I'm going to throw four brands at you. You have to choose one of these brands that you will never eat again. So
this will probably
here
be
we go.
easier.
First one is Lay's. The next one is Ruffles. The third one is Pringles. And the last one is Doritos. Which one are you getting rid of?
Ruffles.
Oh, hell no. Oh, no. No, you did not just say Ruffles. Oh,
Because hear me out.
I,
Hear
I,
me
I
out.
got I got to, Nicole. Go ahead.
Lay's is so many flavors. There are
Hmm.
not as many flavors of Ruffles,
Okay.
you know? And I can't
Okay.
get rid of Doritos because that's its own thing, like you
Hmm.
gotta have the Doritos.
And the Pringles?
And the Pringles are just they're Pringles. Like when you're wanting something that's a chip, but not like chip. Are you understanding what I'm saying?
No, I'm not picking up. Not picking up what you putting down,
You're
Nicole.
not picking
That's
up
what the hell you
like
saying.
when you want chips, you want Lay's.
Okay.
You don't
Okay.
think, "Oh, I want Pringles." That's not, you know, if you want a chip, you want a Lay's. You want a bag of Lay's, I
Okay.
suppose, or Ruffles. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you never think, "Oh, I want a chip," and then you get Pringles.
Okay.
You
I,
think,
I
"I want
I
Pringles," and you
I
get
can respect
Pringles.
that. I can respect that. I certainly can. I'm gonna tell you the greatest chip ever made is sour cream and cheddar Ruffles. That's the greatest chip ever made.
No, I do really like those.
Right, right, right. Now, listen. Granted, I'm gonna give you some grace because I only gave you four brands, and there's so many different brands of chips. But man, you
Because
did not
my thing is
hesitate to
I
say Ruffles.
couldn't give up barbecue Lays. I really like barbecue Lays. So I
Yeah,
was
they're
like, I
very
can't
good.
give those up
Very
for
good.
the sour cream and cheddar.
Okay, so what is your favorite chip?
Um, Not a
Like,
chip. Technically not a chip, but within
okay,
the chip category.
talk
I
to me.
love some Cheetos. Just original, the
Yeah,
like thin,
yeah.
crunchy ones, not the puffs. That's an abomination. The thin, crunchy ones.
The puffs are an abomination.
Yes.
Nicole,
You're
we're gonna have
eating
to see.
air. You're eating air.
So you saying that if you were walking down the aisle and your favorite chip is not there and they only had Cheeto puffs, you'll just keep walking? You wouldn't grab a bag?
No, I probably because if I want Cheetos, I want the thin, crunchy Cheetos. I don't want the Cheeto Puffs. I have
Okay.
never been like, "Oh, yeah, the puffs sound good." No.
Wow. We're gonna have to keep it at the wings then with me and you. At least we can do chicken wings. At least we can do that. We got some. Listen, listen, Nicole. You are absolutely lovely, but you just proven you're not perfect, so it's all good. It's okay.
No
It's
one
okay.
is. No one
No,
is.
I was just about to say, neither am I. So I get it. I totally understand. Totally understand. You did well for this or that, though. You did pretty good.
Great.
I want to ask you about a top four bucket list. What is your top four bucket list of events that you would like to cover in your journalistic career that you haven't yet?
Mm, Top 4 of events. Okay, I don't this one is, like, a little out there because 'cause I'm not a sports journalist, so it's like I don't think I'm probably ever going to go there and do that, but covering the Olympics would be top tier,
That's
I
definitely
think that
mine.
would be amazing.
Hmm.
Um, hmm,
This
I
must
mean,
be a good question.
in the news, I feel like I've covered all the elections, like
Mhm.
and to be honest, I don't want to cover them on, like, a national level,
Got you.
um,
Got you.
so, like, in terms of, like, politics and stuff, I feel like I'm good. I've
What
done what I
what
wanted
what,
to do, I don't wanna
what about like a trial situation? Maybe like you want to cover a trial?
Well, no.
No.
I think
Okay.
I think crime stuff is really interesting, and I love to, like, watch it and read about it, and I have a reporter who is a great, like, crime reporter, and he's done a lot
Hmm.
of cool stuff,
Hmm.
um, and we've been talking about doing some investigative work on a case,
Okay.
and I think that would be really cool. Some, like, deep kind of, like, investigative work on a case.
Right.
Covering the trial itself is just kind of I don't know, did you do some news work too, or did you mostly just do sports?
Just sports. Just boring.
Covering a trial, you just sit in a courtroom, and it can really be so boring. Like,
I feel that.
even on the big trials, like, it's just very monotonous, like,
Mm, okay.
so,
Okay.
yeah, I think but I think
What
the
what about a
deep
red carpet
investigative
event?
work is interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely could see that. I could see that because that'd be interesting and fun trying to find out information, talk to sources and different
Yeah.
things of that. I could certainly see you on the red carpet. You definitely have a face for in front of the camera, and you certainly have the personality to be able to talk to people very easily. Would you want to do any kind of red carpet or host an event?
Um, I like throwing parties and hosting events, like, with my friends, so maybe, you know, um, maybe hosting events would be fun. I love throwing a good dinner party or whatever,
Sure,
or a
sure.
little barbecue get together. Because I'm a big extrovert, so I think you're right. Like, I definitely would have the personality for it.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely. No question.
our publication company too does a lot of, like, events with our big publications. Like, we just put out, for the Williamson scene, what I was doing before, we put out our first print edition, and it was the best of Williamson. So, best places around the county to go eat or, drink or whatever. And so we hosted a big party for it, and, got up on stage and thanked people for coming and whatever. So,
Mhm.
I do kinda like some events type stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
But I
I
don't know
like
about, like,
that.
red carpet stuff and everything. Although it would be cool to get to meet all the celebrities. That would
Yeah.
be pretty dope.
I think you would have some great questions. I think you obviously would look great, but I think the personality would just really, really shine off because I think you could
Yeah,
just vibe with anybody that walked the carpet and be able to talk to them about anything, for sure. So that's
yeah,
why that came up in my mind for sure.
yeah.
I want to know what is some advice that someone has gave you. Now you gave advice, but what is some advice that someone gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Mm. To just do what makes you happy. I
Mm,
know that sounds kinda cheesy, and that there's
it does,
probably
but that's
better
okay.
advice. Then there's probably, like, better specific advice out there, but I'll tell you why. Like, I think in journalism specifically, oh, appearance from my dog.
Ooh, look at that. I'm a dog lover, so I love that. That's awesome. I love it.
He loves his little chair back there. But in journalism specifically, I think that advice, like, is really key because you can get stuck in a role that, like, you're really not enjoying, and your
Yeah,
days can become monotonous just doing whatever stories are coming your way, and you're not really enjoying it anymore. And if that's
right,
the case, go do what makes you happy. Like, if you're in journalism and you're not sure, what that is yet, go try new things and see what makes you happy, like, because only you're going to be able to do that for yourself. Like,
right,
no nobody is going to, like, hand that to you.
right.
So, you really have to, like, seek that out. I think you really have to be determined to find happiness for yourself. And so I think go do what makes you happy is, like, a key element to that, like, in your career too. Like, you have to go and do different things and find that happiness for yourself and do what you enjoy.
Absolutely. No, I love that. That's great advice. No question. This has been a really good, dope conversation with you, Nicole. Just learning about your background, learn about what you have done, learn about your why, of why you do it, learn about your journey, learn about the advice that you would give others, but also someone who has gave you. Learning the fact that you are a not a good bowler, but you are a not a bad bowler, but you're somewhat in between for sure. But yes, no doubt about it. Just learning about you is amazing. I really appreciate you allocating your time to me to be on my podcast today. My final question to you is there anything else you would like to add about you, the job, or anything at all before we conclude?
Um People say, especially for women, that you can have it all, but you can't have it all at the same time. Or you can't have it all. You have to pick, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Screw that. You can have whatever you want.
Mm.
You can have whatever you want. You just have to go after it, and you have to work hard,
Mm.
and
I
you
like that.
you have to work hard, and you have to value your time, you know?
Okay.
So so that you can play harder.
I love that, girl. Damn it. You can't end it no better way than that.
I
Listen,
know.
it has been an absolute pleasure, Nicolle, to have you on my podcast. You enjoy your Friday, your weekend. You and I will definitely be in touch.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Chris.
No problem.
Bye.